Imagine a Viking longship builder. His task, to shape a massive, single oak keel. If his measurements are off by just half an inch, the ship will list, take on water, and doom every man on its first voyage. There is no room for good enough, no tolerance for a sloppy cut, and no pardoning the impulsive mistake. The punishment for a bad habit, a momentary lapse in attention, is death for the entire crew. Now look at your own life. You know that checking social media immediately after waking up ruins your focus for the next hour. You know that ordering takeout instead of cooking derails your health goals. You know that postponing that critical call creates financial drag. Why do these small, known flaws, these sloppy cuts in your daily routine, persist? Because you treat them as minor inconveniences, not as existential threats. The Vikings did not believe in willpower. They believed in mastery, the unforgiving discipline of crafting things, ships, weapons, sagas, where small errors are deadly. They developed a brutal but effective system for identifying and eliminating the flaws, bad habits, in their character and craft. Today, we'll unpack the Viking philosophy of Skaldic Discipline, the path of methodical, incremental, and unforgiving self-correction, and how this ancient mindset is the ultimate key to breaking any bad habit permanently. The Viking system for self-mastery was rooted in two concepts that directly countered impulsive behavior: mastery as survival and Örlog, the unfolding of fate. Principle 1. The law of the keel, unforgiving precision. In Viking culture, there was no separation between discipline and competence. A badly formed sword was a bad habit. A poorly navigated drakkar was a lapse in attention. The natural world provided immediate, lethal feedback. This instilled a cultural demand for perfect, repeatable execution. They corrected bad habits not because they were morally wrong, but because they were fatal flaws in the system. The habit of checking your work twice was a survival mechanism. Principle 2. Skaldic Discipline, incremental correction. The Skalds, court poets, were masters of the extremely complex Drotkvit meter, a poetic form, requiring incredible precision, syllable count, and alliteration. The habit of a skald was endless, meticulous refinement. This artistic discipline was applied to all crafts. You don't overhaul the keel in one go. You file, check, and refile 100 times until it is perfect. This is the Viking Kaizen. Small, constant, unforgiving corrections applied until the action becomes flawless. Principle 3. Örlog. Action defines fate. While the Vikings believed in weird, general fate, they also embraced Örlog, the idea that the sum of your past actions, good and bad, unfolds to create your immediate future. A bad habit is a negative deposit in your Örlog account. Breaking a bad habit is not an act of willpower. It is the deliberate, continuous placement of positive actions into the flow of your life until the negative current is overwhelmed. They corrected the small, daily mistakes because those mistakes were their destiny. The Viking method treats a bad habit not as a weakness, but as a defect in the final product that must be methodically repaired. How did the Vikings achieve this meticulous, habit-breaking precision in practice? Technique 1. The unmaking ritual, immediate reversal. When a mistake was made, a bad cut on the wood, a poorly forged rivet, a broken oath, the Viking response was immediate and absolute reversal. You didn't leave the flaw and promise to fix the next one. You immediately unmade the mistake. The blacksmith didn't ignore a weak rivet. He took it out and recast it instantly. The habit mechanic. This trains the brain to implement zero tolerance for the bad habit. If you check your phone, you don't scroll, just for a minute. You immediately put it in the locked drawer and perform the intended task for 30 minutes, effectively unmaking the impulsive error. Technique 2. The Runes of Mastery, smallest action principle. The Futhark rune alphabet is composed of small, distinct, and potent symbols. Learning runes required absolute concentration on small, individual units. Mastery came not from learning 24 symbols at once, but from perfecting the carving and meaning of one rune, then adding the next. The habit mechanic. This implements the Kaizen concept of the smallest viable step. If you want to run, don't aim for 5 miles. Master the rune of running, putting on your shoes immediately after waking up. Do this flawlessly for a week. Then add the next rune, 1 minute of light jogging. Technique 3, the Jarl's Scrutiny, public accountability. Bad habits were often corrected by the Jarl or the elders, not through punishment, but through intense public scrutiny and detailed critique. The error was exposed to the group to prevent its recurrence because it endangered the community. The habit mechanic. You must make your habit-breaking process visible and accountable. Tell a reliable peer what small, specific habit you are breaking. For example, I will start work at 8 a.m. sharp. The fear of disappointing your Jarl, your accountability partner, provides the necessary emotional pressure to maintain precision. The Kaizen in the Viking world wasn't a corporate philosophy. It was a matter of survival, meticulously correcting small flaws before they led to disaster. If you are suffering from a bad habit, you are allowing a flawed rivet to remain in the keel of your life. Rule 1. The ZERO-TOLERANCE Unmaking Protocol. Stop saying, "I'll do better next time." Do better now. Modern protocol. If you catch yourself in the act of the bad habit, for example, opening YouTube, when you meant to work, you must immediately perform an absolute reversal. Stop the bad action and perform the intended good action for a guaranteed minimum of 5 minutes. Don't just close YouTube, open your work document and write 5 sentences immediately. Target. You are training your brain that the consequence of the mistake is more work, not less. Rule 2. Master the first rune, the smallest viable step. Identify the absolute smallest, easiest step required for your good habit. Modern protocol. Don't aim for the full habit. Reduce the habit until it is impossible to fail. If you want to practice guitar, your rune is hold the guitar for 1 minute. If you want to eat healthily, your rune is eat 1 carrot stick. Do this flawlessly for 7 days until that rune is perfectly carved into your Örlog. Target. Flawless repetition of the smallest action builds the unbreakable habit stack. Rule 3. The Accountability Manifesto, Jarl's Scrutiny. Make your corrections visible to eliminate the easy retreat into isolation. Modern protocol. Announce the one specific habit you are trying to break, and the one specific rune you are mastering to your trusted Jarl, peer, spouse, mentor. Ask them to check in with a simple question daily or weekly. The fear of publicly failing your small rune is a more powerful deterrent than abstract shame. Target. You leverage the deep human need for honor and social approval, knit avoidance, to enforce personal discipline. Return to the longship builder. He doesn't need motivation to make a perfect cut. He knows that the fate of the 20 men who will sail on that keel depends on his unflinching precision today. He doesn't tolerate the small flaw. He unmakes it. He perfects the rune. He checks the keel. The difference between you and the master is not a lack of willpower. It is the tolerance you allow for small, impulsive flaws. The Viking legacy is this. Your character is the sum of your crafts. If your daily habits are sloppy, your life will list and eventually sink. If your habits are precise, disciplined, and flawlessly executed at the smallest step, your Örlog, your fate, will unfold with strength. Your 24-hour challenge. Identify the single worst bad habit you have. Today, the moment you catch yourself performing it, implement the Unmaking Protocol. Stop immediately and perform the good action for 5 minutes. Stop negotiating with the flaws in your keel. Start carving the perfect rune.